Those Were the Days is filmed before a live internet audience. Welcome into Those Were the Days, the show where we talk about some retro TV. We are wrapping up 80s Cartoon Month, and I am hosting tonight. I'm Travis, aka TV's Travis. I am leading the group known as Cast, Cartoons and Other Sitcom Television. Tonight, we are dealing with the blatantly overdramatic retro evildoers, or Bored. They are led by a guy named Alan Anarchy, and he's plotting to ruin the internet and all social media platforms one at a time, and we have to stop him. Computer, scan the personnel files for podcasters best suited for this mission.
Personnel selected. Amy Frost, quilting specialist and culinary specialist. Vehicle code name, Stovetop.
All right, so I'm not going to pretend that I really had a good grasp of what was going on in this show, but I will say that I do know one thing, and that is that Venom absolutely has a Cybertruck.
Personnel selected. Audie Norman, graphical artist and cartoon specialist. Vehicle code name, Canvas.
At the risk of copying a bit, welcome friends to Those Were the Days, a division of the organization known as Podcast. People organizing digitally, conversing about some topic. As a division of Podcast... Sorry guys, you got me. Dang it.
That makes as much sense as where the word actually came from.
Oh, it's so good.
As a division of Podcast, we aim to bring you knowledge and entertainment while battling the evil forces of boredom. Every week, we'll come into your ear holes, transforming conversation into even cooler conversations, and kick boredom's butt with all the powers at our disposal.
Personnel selected. Stephen Adams, audio specialist and video game enthusiast. Vehicle code name, Backpedal.
So good. That's so good. I'm dying. Okay, hold on. I can get through this. Coming soon from Blammo. You've seen the show. Now live it. Introducing M.A.S.K, Super Action Hero Squad action figures. Big shoulders, small heads, all action. It's like Transformers G.I. Joe and the A-Team had a baby. A baby with massive arms, but still had a small baby head. This Christmas, don't be the only loser without a M.A.S.K action toy. Also available, T-Bob, while supplies last. Only from Blammo.
So we, this week, watched a personal favorite of mine, M.A.S.K, which stands for Mobile Armored Strike Command, with a K. This was a series that ran for 2 seasons. It was direct to syndication, 1985 and 1986. First season was 65 episodes. And then in the second season, they completely changed the show around, and it was no longer about a secret task force and evildoers. It was a race. They made it into like a racing thing, and it was only 10 episodes, and then they were done with it.
Like Wacky Racers, but not.
Kind of.
Love
yeah.
it.
So M.A.S.K was led by Matt Tracker, which is a great name, and his last name is spelled with 2 Ks.
Of course it is.
Even better.
You had Matt.
It'd be ridiculous.
Everybody in this show had a code name, which was great. So you had Matt Hunter Tracker. And he, so everybody had a code name. They had a mask that they wore that had a special power, and they had a vehicle. We'll get into some of those. But Matt Tracker ran M.A.S.K, and they were going up against Venom, the vicious, evil network of mayhem.
Yep.
Led by a character whose name was taken right off the desk of Stan Lee, Miles Mayhem. And he led Venom. And basically what we watched was what pretty much every episode was. Venom would do some sort of thing, Mask would team up, go after him, save the day. There you go. It was absolutely 100% a commercial for the toys.
Sure.
Hands down. Like people talk about, oh, GI Joe was a commercial for the toys. No, look, GI Joe had some plot and occasional like
Yeah.
writing and decent dialogue. Mask did not have any of that.
No.
Now
Show off the mask.
I
Let's show
I
off the
watched this show. I loved this. I had the toys, a bunch of them. I'll kind of talk about that in a bit. But what I want to know is, Audie, what was your history with Mask, if any?
Okay, so I definitely remember watching this cartoon. I remember that I did that. I remember the concept just enough. I did not remember the masks having powers at all.
Mm,
I remember the vehicles and stuff. Like I had some of the action figures, and that was it. Like I don't remember how we got them, if we got them in a pack or something like that.
sure.
But just a couple of the characters with their masks. We definitely had Scott in a little T-Bob thing,
Yep.
that did not transform like he did in the show at all. So that was,
No.
as a kid, I was like, that's not cool. But I had a friend that like, um, you've got that one friend that's better off than you and gets all the cool toys.
Sure.
And they definitely had a lot of the vehicles and stuff, and we'd go and play with those. But that's about it. So this was definitely like, oh, I remember this show. Yeah, I don't remember the show. Huh.
Stephen, how about you? Did you have any memory of Mask?
None whatsoever, Travis. This is the first I've even ever heard of Mask. I had no idea that this thing existed, but after watching it and learning there was a robot named T-Bob, it reminded me of a kid in preschool named T-Paul, and I can't help but wonder that's where he got his name.
Very likely.
I want it to be true.
Excellent. Amy, how about you?
No, I'm in the same boat as Steven. Brand new. Had no idea. I'm about
Fascinating.
T-Bob though. Boston Dynamics is wasting their time. What are they doing? What are they doing? This is the future we're looking for. Let's go.
Right. So I had, I remember the show, and I had a few of the toys. They became bathtub toys after a little
yeah.
while because I would lose pieces of them. But so before we talk about the episode itself, because there's not a lot of meat on that bone, I do the big thing with Mask is the characters and the vehicles. So Matt Tracker, his main thing was called Thunderhawk. We didn't see it in this episode, unfortunately, and it was the
Yeah.
one toy that I always wanted that I didn't have, but a friend of mine did. It was a red Chevy Camaro with gull wing doors. That the gull wing doors would pop open and it would turn into a jet, which was just a flying OSHA violation.
Mhm.
Mhm.
But it was awesome. Like it was just the coolest thing. So every toy Matchbox car, every car I had I would always flip the doors out and it would become a flying car. And it was probably because I had seen this show and I just wanted that. So he had that, and his mask was called Spectrum, and it just gave him basically whatever ability he needed for that particular episode. He also would occasionally drive Rhino, which was the big Kenworth truck that we saw in this one, which I did have. And that thing, Rhino, was awesome because it had the smokestacks that folded down and they were laser cannons.
Mhm.
Nice.
And it had a battering ram on the front. The whole grill would pop off the front of it. The toy had a pop out, the back compartment would open up. So you had like the little command center back there with all the computers and everything. And he drove that along with his sidekick and the guy who was in most episodes, Bruce Magic Soto or Sato. He drove Rhino and he had the mask Lifter, which we saw in this.
Yeah.
One of the cool things was the masks, you had to say the name of the power and then on for it to
Yeah.
turn on, which was so silly. But as a kid, I can remember like playing with friends of mine, and we would have our own masks we would
Mhm.
make, and then they would have whatever power it was. I did forget until rewatching this episode that Bruce was the vaguely mystical Confucius speaking Asian
Mhm.
character. I forgot
Mhm.
who
Oh
did that.
yeah.
Cringed a little bit. I was like,
Uh-huh.
oh.
This had
Yeah,
all the
no
Captain
mm,
stereotyping
Planet
here at all.
going on in it.
Mhm.
yeah.
Um, we did get Scott Tracker and T Bob in this. Scott is Matt's son, and they basically do exactly what we saw in this episode all the time. They try to tag along and just get pushed to the side. We also had, I love Alex Megabyte Sector,
Mhm.
was the computer specialist, and he would ride in Rhino. Um, got Dusty Hayes Powder Keg. Now I had this toy. Gator was the Jeep that would open up and a boat would shoot out of it, and it was spring
Is this
loaded. So
why
the
you drive a
toy,
Jeep? Is this
it's
what
partly
happened?
it's part of it.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Does yours shoot a boat? No?
Unfortunately, no.
That's a shame.
It's in the
But
works.
that one was cool because the toy was spring loaded. So when you would pop the chassis open on the Jeep, the boat would fire out of it,
Nice.
which was really cool. I wore that thing right the hell out.
Hell yeah.
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
Then you had Gloria Baker, who her vehicle never ended up in the toy line. And we didn't see it here because she was riding with Firecracker. But her vehicle was a white Porsche that turned into a submarine, which was really
As
cool.
you do.
And then we also got Brad Turner had his. I had the motorcycle that he had, Condor, the
Mhm.
motorcycle that would turn into a helicopter. It was awesome. It was like it's just ridiculous. But he had the best mask, Hocus Pocus, which we got to see in this. It just
Yeah.
created a copy of him, and just the
Oh my
ridiculousness
God.
of Hocus Pocus on, and then projecting
It's just
a
the
I mean,
thing.
it's a good power.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
a good
hmm
power.
Oh
Why is
yeah.
that the name?
Yeah.
That's
I
not a
don't
good
know.
name.
Magic words, science.
There you
Well,
go.
the funny thing is, like, he gets the dumb name of Hocus Pocus for his mask, and then Hondo Stryker McLean, who Hondo McLean is such a great name.
That's a good
Um,
name.
he drove Firecracker, which was the orange pickup, and his mask was just called Blaster. Like
Hey, what's
Yeah.
it
you
do?
couldn't, you
Hey,
couldn't.
Mm.
hey, what's it do?
Did
Amazingly, fires a
Yeah.
destructive heat-based beam.
Heck
Oh.
yeah.
Who'd have thought?
Did Die Hard come out
His
before
second
or after this, Travis? For
after,
the McLean. Okay. Well, they
yeah,
took it from M.A.S.K then, clearly.
they did
Because
definitely.
I know Hondo
Absolutely.
came out long before this did, and I thought maybe they just
Oh
combined
yes.
two dudes into one super dude. Because I
Well,
want that name. I'm
kind
just really just jealous. I haven't thought of it.
of. His second vehicle, so Firecracker is what he was driving here, and he had Buddy with him, Buddy Clutch Hawks. Which is that's a good nickname,
That's
Clutch.
a good name. Yeah.
A friend of mine in high school at Goodwill found a T-shirt or like a work shirt from a garage, and the name patch on it was the Clutch.
Nice.
Yes. My
So he
That's
uncle
wore
knew
that
a
to
guy.
school and wanted everyone to call him the Clutch for the day.
Very good.
My uncle knew a guy who wore nothing but shirts he got from Goodwill with other people's names on them.
Yes.
Everybody
That's
would
awesome.
call him by the name
go.
on the patch for that work shirt that day.
It's perfect.
It's awesome.
So
that.
Firecracker was cool. It was an orange pickup truck that would elevate up and be like a little mobile weapons platform, which I did have Firecracker, but I liked Hondo and Buddy's other vehicle better, which was Hurricane. It was the one I absolutely just wore the hell out of. It was a 57 Chevy, and it was this like teal with flames on it,
Nice.
but it would turn into a 6-wheel tank. Like it would drop 2 extra wheels down, and then the top of it would pop up and turn into a gun turret. And
Oh
it was just the
yeah.
most ridiculous thing, and I loved it.
Nice.
Guys, I have really good news that the toys are coming back in 2025.
What?
Nice.
I have
I
really
might have
good
to
news.
buy
I
all
just went to
those.
go look at the toys, and there's all these videos from toy YouTubers. They're like, Mask toys return in 2025.
But
Oh,
why?
I
Good
can't
news,
wait.
everybody.
Like
Well,
it
I don't
comics-
know, man, but let's go. I
There was
guess.
talk at one point of a Mask movie when they wanted to do like the Micronauts and all of
Mhm.
those things. They were going to do Mask at some point, and it never happened. Mayhem basically had Venom had 4 characters ever in the show that I remember. There was maybe a couple others that came along later, but you had Miles Mayhem, who drove Switchblade, which was a helicopter that turned into a jet. Okay. Um, there was Sly Rax. It's a great name.
That's a good
He
name.
was the one that sounds like Jack Nicholson.
Oh, that's the voice at the beginning of the show. It's like,
It's
we're gonna
really
be
Yes.
back
That
today
voice.
for another episode.
Yeah.
Yep.
Really good.
It was great. He drove Piranha, which was the motorcycle with a releasable sidecar, and the sidecar would be a little single person submarine.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And then Cliff Blaster Dagger was the big dumb guy, but he's not really dumb. He just sounds it. And he drove Jackhammer, which we saw in its like converted form, but it was basically a Ford Bronco that kind of
Sure
turned into
is.
like a crazy weapon truck.
Hmm.
And Vanessa Warfield, who drove Manta, which was a Nissan 300ZX that converts into an assault jet. So those were your main characters. So the episode that we watched was episode 4, Highway. What was it? Highway to
Highway to
something.
Terror.
Highway to Terror. So
You know,
Can't
number
call it
one,
Highway to Hell on children's television.
you can't.
Right.
right.
No.
Number one, we get the opening song, and I'm telling you, '80s cartoons, man,
Gosh.
they knew to have a great opening theme and credit sequence for two reasons. Number one, it draw you in, and number two, it pads out that runtime.
Yes.
I think it was the most
There-
exciting thing in this episode.
Absolutely.
There were several moments of padding the airtime in this episode.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yes,
Where I'm
there
like,
was.
that went on longer than it needed to. What are we doing?
There's
And-
a lot of dead air, right? Like a lot,
Yep.
like to the point where it feels like a cartoon that was dubbed,
Yes.
right?
Right.
You know what I mean? And like
Well-
it's just you're just
Mhm.
like, well, we have nothing else to say here. We'll just let it hang.
And it suffered from the thing that like Thundercats suffered from as well, which is animation is not cheap, and so they spent all of the
No.
money on the opening, and they would make that super action packed, and then they had just the lamest animation during the show or minimal
Mhm.
animation, like nothing happened. But that song is great. It is really a great theme song. There's a second verse to it as well, that I think was in the pilot and maybe never again. I don't remember now. I also like that they work that little melody into the rest of the music throughout the show. Like as scenes would start, you'd hear that little do 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 do
Mhm.
in the background. So there's a convoy of the army driving along a road in the middle of the desert, and there's just a dude hanging out in a rocking chair in the middle of the road.
Nope.
No.
So they stop. They
Of
don't just
course.
drive around him in any of the 4 lanes that they could have.
Mhm.
Instead, they got to stop. And he tells them that he is a magician to entertain the troops. It's Miles Mayhem. We get some just smoke and steam, and hey, we're over here now, and we're all wearing masks, and we're laughing maniacally, and then they disappear. And that's when one of the soldiers tells the guy, "Hey, the semi that was holding the plutonium is
Plutonium.
gone."
Yeah.
So first of all, they're transporting plutonium. Secondly, I love the fact that the dialogue was recorded as the semi.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's right.
Mm-hmm.
The semi with the plutonium's gone, sir.
I like
you want to
that
read that one
everybody
again? Nope, we
was-
don't got time.
Everybody was huge and buff, but they all had like basic 21-year-old voices.
Yes.
Yes.
Nobody had gruff voices. Everybody's like, "Hey, man, they stole the plutonium." Meanwhile, they're like 6.5 feet tall, massive.
Yeah. Well,
Like, that's
we made the
incredible.
joke last week about having like 3 people doing 18 voices. This was a show that did that.
Yeah.
Doug Stone did the voice of Matt Tracker and Hondo McClane and Dusty Hayes and Bruce Sato. And Nash Gorey, Bruno Shepard, Boris Bushkin, and Maximus Mayhem. Like
All
one guy
right.
did all those voices.
Mhm.
And then
Good for
Brendan
him.
McCain did like the
He
other half of the male voices.
Paid $10.
So the truck disappeared, and then we just cut to Matt's house, his palatial estate, and he's
Yeah.
there with some random guy getting the lowdown on what just happened.
Mhm.
One thing I got to say, man, some of these deliveries of lines were
Oh my
Mhm.
gosh.
It's
There's
good.
Every
something.
line Matt delivered was the most
Oh.
underwhelming thing.
Nothing got any emotion out of that man. Like
No.
he's just like a thalidomide robot. It was crazy. So Matt's like, well, I guess we're gonna have to stop mayhem then, and immediately goes to his computer and sets up the team, and then we got to pad some more runtime. We get and this is easily my favorite part of the episode though, is calling the team in.
Well, it was so funny too because it was like, okay, find me the best people for the job. And I'm like, oh, we'll get a few of them, and then it keeps going and going. It's like,
Yeah.
oh,
the whole team.
so everybody, okay,
Yeah. Yep.
And I love some of the people that got called out, like the dude playing football, and he just like throws the ball
he
down.
just
It's like, I got
throws the
stuff to do.
ball.
He just
Gotta
chucks
go.
it. Gotta go. Emergency.
When the Apple Watch rings, you have got to
Mhm.
go.
It's like about to make
Yes.
the touchdown, but it's like,
Yep.
nope, we're out.
All right,
I'm
time
going.
to open the shop and sell some donuts. Wait, nope.
Nope.
Yeah,
not
that
today.
that one might be my favorite one because he
Really
pulls the
good.
shade up, pulls the shade back down, and that's it. All those people are just stuck outside waiting, wondering what the hell's going on.
I like the mechanic.
Yeah.
Who comes out and
Oh,
just
wait.
hands the guy the wrench and is like, "You're on it, man."
So he gets everybody, and then I think we have a quick scene at Venom's lair with the plutonium. They're loading into some giant machine,
Mhm.
and possibly one of the top two lines in this entire episode is Miles Mayhem when they say something to the effect of like, "I wonder what the major said when he saw his truck was missing," and Miles responds with like, "Well, he'll be pretty upset when he finds out what we're doing with the plutonium." Ha 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 ha! Like what? Yeah. Oh, if he knew what we're going to do with the plutonium, I don't think he'd be too happy. That's the line. That's some
Perfection.
Gosh, it's
Let's
just
go.
poetry.
Mhm.
Just
Yeah.
poetry.
that is some human dialogue.
Yep. So then Matt briefs the
From a
team
human.
as they
Yeah.
yes, totally 100%
Yes.
human. Matt briefs the team sitting around their giant round table, and then we get the huge machine full of masks that descends from the ceiling
Mhm.
to power them up and distribute the masks to everybody. It's
Yep.
like, man, all the money they spent on this stuff. What does Matt do? That's what I want to know. Like
Yeah.
he's the real
He's like
criminal here.
he's a Bruce Wayne type. You
Yeah,
know?
he's a
True.
billionaire industrialist.
Import export business.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they take off and they go to the spot where the truck was taken and they're checking it out. Of course, there's nothing there. And while they're there, an earthquake starts just out of nowhere. And they were able to track it with the satellite imagery from the back of Rhino to Central City. So they decide they're going to go there because mayhem is there and they're obviously up to no good.
Okay, wait, but we gotta talk about Scott. We can't
Oh,
brush
right.
over this
Scott and
because
Yes.
this subplot. This was the part I was riveted on. This subplot of Scott going fishing.
Right,
This is
'cause
where I
Scott-
was at.
I love it because Scott sees his dad at the computer. He's like, "Oh, are you going on a mission?" He's like, "That's right, son." No
When do we
emotion
leave?
whatsoever.
Mhm.
Cool. When do we get to leave? Well, you're only going halfway. I'm going to drop you off at Clear Lake. Where the 3-pounders are.
That's the best. Those. If I catch my limit in the first day, will you come pick me up? No.
No deals, son.
Incredible.
Just like real
Let me
life.
tell you though,
Mhm.
if I could just go fishing with my little robot friend, forget it.
Yeah, I'd be
Yeah.
like, okay, I could go
Let's
into
go.
danger zone where the earthquake is, or go fishing at the lake with my weird mustached uncle
Yeah.
or whatever and my robot. Like,
Yeah.
I'm going.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's way better. Let's go.
Yeah. So I forgot. So yeah, they dropped off Scott and T-Bob before heading with Mr. Spenson. It's a great name.
Yeah.
And so they drop him off. They go out. That's when the earthquake happens. It's a 7.2 earthquake, by the way.
Whew.
7.2
intense.
earthquake in Central City. So they head there immediately. And of course, the whole city's just falling apart. Buildings are
Yeah, I don't think it's
collapsing.
rated for
No.
earthquake activity.
know. We don't know where it is, right? It's just
No.
Central City. But like the road is cracking open, cars are falling into it, all this stuff is happening. And then meanwhile, Mayhem and his crew, Venom, are just at a random building where no earthquake. And they're walking out with some box. And I love that. It's like, oh, it's pretty easy when everybody leaves because of an earthquake. Yeah, it is. And M.A.S.K shows up, and we get a nice little action sequence. And everybody gets out of their vehicles, and it's all on foot. But I like that everybody gets to use their mask. So we get all the mask powers, right? Because we got to show those off. Got to make sure the kids are seeing those because they buy the toys.
Yep.
And it was great. It was such a silly, because like at one point, I think, what does Matt say? He says like, there's a building falling. They hear a woman scream, and he's
Yeah.
like, Bruce, and he names like 5 of them. You go over there.
Yeah.
We'll get Venom.
Right.
Yeah. So
Like, you had to give-
here's my complaint about this and what follows. They don't have any real clear visual language distinguishing good guys from bad guys.
Mhm.
So I have no idea who anyone was at any given time.
Yep.
Once masks were on, I'm like, is that a good guy? I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, that guy got wrecked. I hope he was a bad guy.
I'm so confused. I'm totally with Amy on
Mhm.
this, and I was like, wait a minute. Wait, do they all
Oh,
have
yeah.
masks? Or just the ones? This is also the part of the show where Sam, who I was watching this show with, checked out.
Yeah.
I can
He
see
made
that.
it a long way, but then he was like, the lady screamed for help, and it was like, oh no, help me, or something just really pitiful. And he's
Yeah.
like,
Yep.
she wasn't even trying. And he said, I'm going to go play Transformers. I said, okay, buddy.
And then
Fair.
like
Yep.
Miles Mayhem was the only one that I got because he kind of looked like Wide Cobra Commander.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so like that I was like, okay, all right, I understand that one.
Everybody's
But, yeah, that was
hands.
rough.
Everybody's hands. I was watching them the whole time. And I was thinking about Audie because artists hate hands, right? Like hands are hard.
Oh,
They're
yeah,
really
they're the worst
difficult.
to draw.
Mhm.
And they just didn't even try with these hands. Like
No.
at one point, the thumb was like a Vienna sausage, and then it's a corn dog, and it's
Oh
just
my
like
gosh.
it
The
was
hands could just all stay puffed.
they were
Entire-
everywhere.
I was like the proportions. I was like, what the hell?
I was so confused. I was looking at their tiny heads and their big bodies and their weird hands just everywhere. I could not
Which is
handle
exactly
it.
how the figures were too. So
Mhm. Yeah.
It was so
Yeah,
funny.
they were drawn just like the figures. It was pretty impressive. So Dusty gets trapped under debris because in order to get away, Miles fires a rocket into a building and just takes part of the building down on top of Dusty, who
not
is
at
fine.
Dusty, but at the building right above Dusty.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
it falls on him, but he's fine. Not a scratch.
Oh, he said something so comical when it landed on him, and I can't remember what it was. It's like, "Rah!" Like it was.
Yeah, there was a part when they were stealing the truck at the beginning too. There was like a sound effect like a oh no or something like that was just so funny that I was like, oh, I had a lot of hope at that point. In that moment, I was like, let's go.
Oh yeah, I
That
think
man
he yelled
saved
like he did
all of
yell like,
this.
"Oh no!" or something.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
so good.
So they get Dusty out from under the debris, and they stopped Venom from taking the box that they were trying to steal, but Venom got away. And so then Alex looks at it and says, "Oh, this is a computer component used to divert earthquakes from populated areas to the desert or ocean floor."
This is what Fox News has been talking about.
Yep, this is the. Yep. They
And what
had
I
it all
love is
along.
Matt. Yeah, and what I love is Matt hears that and he goes, "Well, that's obviously what the plutonium was for. Some sort of earthquake device."
Yeah, of course.
Again, calm as a Hindu cow the whole time.
Because the lake.
Oh, well, so
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
so then we cut back to we've got to have our subplot, right?
Yep.
Our B plot is Scott and T-Bob. Well, they've caught their fish. They're Mr. Spenson is cooking up lunch, and so Scott and T-Bob are going to go swimming in the lake, and they head out.
Fish doesn't take that long to cook, guys. Not now.
That's pretty
But
quick.
T-Bob jumps off the pier, off the end of the dock, and the lake's gone. It's just gone. There's no lake there anymore. And so I don't know if Matt called or if Scott called him, but I love Matt's reaction to it, Well, just try to make the best of it, son. I'll call you later.
It's so good.
One of
It's
the
like
things
he's
that
having a bad weekend at his mom's.
one of the things that
Mom
tickled
won't
me
let me have
about
mac
this.
and cheese.
I don't remember if it came out this way, but I swear it did. I didn't rewind it, but they're running down the pier, and T-Bob is way ahead of
Oh,
the
yeah.
kid, and the kid yells, "Last one to jump in is a box of scrap parts or something." I'm like, the robot is 50 feet in front of you, dude. Like,
Yeah,
you're calling.
man.
What?
Yeah.
You even stopped
Yeah.
running to yell that?
His-
Like, this is
Yeah,
you're
because
not
he
winning.
transformed
Right
into his
a
mono
motorcycle.
wheel.
Yep.
Yeah.
The script
Mm.
writers and the animators did not come together on that one.
No, that didn't make any sense. I was like, come on, work harder.
But that was Matt's reaction to all that was my favorite line of the whole thing because it's just like, well, that's weird, son. Try to make the best of it.
Make the
Hang up.
best.
So good.
And then immediately he was like, well, this seems like something that has to do with Venom, obviously. So,
Yeah. And then he's got to devise a plan to. Oh, they want an earthquake machine. Well, why don't we give them one? With a little smirk.
mhm.
That's the only emotion he showed in the entire
Yeah.
episode
Yeah.
was half of a smirk.
And
Mhm.
he showed it. You
Um,
definitely didn't hear it in his voice.
No.
No, not at all. So then we get Venom waiting on another military convoy because they got satellite information that there was another computer box being transported. So they do their same kind of shtick. This time, instead of being a magic man, Miles and Sly show up in a hot air balloon asking for more propane.
Yeah.
And the military stops for this man dressed as a unregulated militia commander.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah, yeah,
Looks
yeah.
Makes nothing
vaguely
of it.
like Lennon. Just
Yeah.
like,
Yes.
can I please get some help for my hot air balloon? Oh, sure. No problem.
And they steal the truck to their underground, whatever.
I loved also that this particular truck was the most futuristic looking truck in the
Oh,
entire
yeah.
episode.
Right? It
Yeah,
did
it
not
was like
look. It looked so out of place.
like a DeLorean with a fifth wheel. It was awesome.
Mhm.
So they open up the back of the truck. It's M.A.S.K. It was a trap. Dun,
Oh,
dun.
no.
More vehicles coming out of that one. Good lord.
And I was like, Optimus Prime. Wait, no, this is wrong show. That's Met Tracker.
Right.
And then we get another action sequence where now, instead of using the masks, it's everybody driving around. I mean, they do use their masks some, but it's also all the vehicles get to show off.
Yep.
Condor gets to transform into the attack helicopter, and all that stuff happens. We do get Hocus Pocus mask, which is the lamest way to take out Sly and his motorcycle, but sure, whatever, it works.
That was a
Also,
good move, though. Like, the dude was like, oh, no, someone beside me. Better wreck into him. Whoop-pow. I mean, I thought that was probably a good use
That was pretty
of
good.
Hocus Pocus.
real quick, the other thing that got me is just the stealing of the truck to begin with. Let's put it. It happens to stop in this one spot and just goes down in the slowest elevator
Oh, yeah.
possible, and
That's
nobody
a
saw it.
noisy. Yeah, that was a noisy theft.
Yes, nobody saw or heard anything. So they stop him, but
Mhm.
Venom gets away.
Yep.
However, they can't chase after them. Bruce wants to, but Matt says, no, we can't. We have to stop the plutonium before it gets out.
I mean, that's fair.
Yeah.
Which is fair, but it took all of 30 seconds and one person to do.
Yeah.
Like,
It
he
was-
could have just left Bruce and gone after Venom. Because that's all they needed was Bruce's lifter mask.
Right.
To
To lift the
get
gray
the
sludge
plutonium.
that was plutonium.
I loved the gray sludge that was plutonium.
Mhm.
As a kid, that's what I thought plutonium was.
Sure.
Because the only place I'd ever seen it other than this was Back to the Future.
Mm-hmm.
And in that,
Yeah.
it was just a jar of stuff with like a thing in it.
Yeah.
I didn't know what plutonium looked like. But that's it. They saved the day. They contained the plutonium and they stopped Venom, and that ends the episode.
Oh,
Like,
and
that's
Matt
just
went
it.
and swam with Scott.
Oh yeah, and
Yeah.
well,
That's our at the end. That's
Yeah.
our
Yeah.
we need an important lesson.
Yeah. We use guns
Obviously.
in this episode, therefore, lesson.
exactly.
Lessons.
And the lesson, like,
It's
okay.
a good lesson. I like this
So-
lesson, quite frankly.
So the show is like 60% intro, very little action, terrible dialogue, and then their lesson
So
is
good.
not much better.
Show is
It's
amazing. This is
perfect.
important. Where else are
Um,
you gonna learn this lesson? Let's go.
so Scott and T Bob are back at the lake about to go swimming. T Bob's going to dive in, but Scott says, "Wait, hold on. You don't know how deep it is. It could be dangerous." And then Matt just looks over and says, no, it looks fine. About 9 feet. Let's dive in.
So good.
And that's it.
Honestly, it was
There's
so
your
bad.
lesson.
I didn't think of it as a lesson at all. I was just like, oh, more bad TV.
This
Got it.
is a dad doing stupid things. Because you don't know how deep water is looking at it. That's how
Nope.
it works.
No.
No, not at all.
No,
Let's
if they had-
dive in.
If they showed
I mean,
something
when it
on
was
the
only
dock with a
6 inches
measurement.
deep, it looked fine.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have loved if the lesson was that they all just just landed straight on their heads when they dove in. They're like, that's why we don't do that. This is a
The-
stupid lesson.
The lesson is don't dive in unless you want compression fractures of the spine.
Compression.
And that is the episode of Mask. What I'm going to tell you is, before I ask my question, is this was indicative of what the show was like. It was basically 65 episodes of this same
65.
thing.
Oh,
There may have been some that were a little bit better than this, but it's basically this all the
Yeah,
time.
but I mean, this one is this is highly rated.
It
on,
is.
All
uh,
right.
on
It
the
is.
MDB.
So Amy, I'm going to start with you. Now that you have seen an episode of Mask, you now know what the Mobile Armored Strike Command is.
Do
Would you
I?
watch?
I don't know that I do.
command with a K.
I don't know that I have a clear like I said, I had to watch it twice because the first time I just zoned out and I got to the end and said, I have no idea what happened. So then I watched it again more carefully and I got to the end and I said, I don't know what happened. I don't okay.
I mean, in
Okay.
fairness, not a lot
Um
happened. So
no. It was fine. I'm not gonna watch it, but it was fine. It was not like I mean it was at least bad enough to be like pretty funny in a lot of
Yeah.
places.
sure.
And that one sound effect. Oh no.
Oh
It's just
no.
really good.
Stephen, how about you? Would you watch
Yeah.
any?
I mean, the concept is
Oh,
good
sorry.
though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like
No, the concept is great.
the bones are good. Just not the execution.
Yeah.
Stephen, would you watch more, or are you going to be like Sam and just cut loose?
No,
watch
I
Transformers.
absolutely will never watch this again. Like I I appreciated the assignment, and every show we watch, to be fair, is way more fun because I know I'm going to sit down and talk about it with you all, and it makes me it just endless joy. But no, even 5-year-old Steven wouldn't have handled this very well. Like I would have just been like, "Nope, is any Bugs Bunny on? Let's go watch that." So no, I will not be watching it. But thank you for introducing it to me, Travis. I appreciate this journey that I got to go on today.
Absolutely. Audie, how about you?
Yeah, I'm gonna join the chorus and say, nah, I'm good. Um, it was fun to be reminded of what I didn't remember, but yeah, I'm good. I've watched it again. I've seen it. It's okay.
Perfectly fair. Now,
Okay, but
here's the other question, though, and I'll start, Stephen, with you on this.
Mhm.
Would you get any of the toys or the action figures?
Ooh, if I could find that car with the gold wing doors you were talking about, I'm in.
Mhm.
Like I
Oh,
would play with
yeah.
that definitely.
All right. Amy, how about you?
okay, so I'm
'Cause I
currently
know
on
you need more
Mask Force.
collectibles.
Yeah, I'm on maskforce.com. Where they have turnarounds of every single toy and the comics and the cartoon. Like they got all it's every resource you could ever want, including Mask STL files for the energy room, the supercomputer, and the cartoon masks, guys.
Dang.
There's
Oh,
not a ton
boy.
of them, but there are like 6 different ones. I do like I like this. I like some of the questionable characters from season 2. I feel like we all need to apologize to Nevada Rushmore on this Thanksgiving week. I feel like we should all feel really
Yes.
sorry about that this happened. But you know, I mean, I would get some toys. Sure, why not?
Mhm.
Why not?
Audie, would
I
you?
love a toy.
Yeah, probably. Especially some of the ones I had. Get a little Scott and T-Bob. I remember
That's
having
great.
those
Then
and
we can
Like,
play
playing
with
those
them
all the
together.
time.
absolutely. Well, and this was a case of marketing, right? Like,
Oh yeah.
this is the quintessential. The cartoon is just a commercial for
Mhm.
the toys,
There's
because
a
you get like
reason there's a lesson at the end.
right there is, and there's also a reason why this didn't last that long.
Mhm.
Because the thing with like Transformers or GI Joe is Transformers had a plot and a story before, they had something going on there.
Mhm.
It just felt like this was, oh, we've got this line of toys that Kenner makes. Well, let's make a show out of it. And they put no effort into what the show was going to be.
Yeah.
And, so that's part of the reason why it's one of the lesser known 80s cartoons in that respect. It holds a special place for me, but like watching it this time, I realized this is not that good. Like I won't probably watch much more of it. I might occasionally throw an episode on just to be like, I remember this, mostly to hear the opening theme song, but I can find that anywhere.
Right.
The toys,
Aim-
though, I would play with again.
Amy has sent me down this rabbit hole over here at
Really good,
massforce.com.
right? Like
This site
this
is
website is way better than the show.
What's
Like
I
I could
want
make up my
everything.
own little.
Yeah, and I found
Yeah.
out. So Dev Harry C earlier mentioned hurricane, and I didn't know what he was talking about because I don't know what he's talking about. So I looked it up on here, and I want that car real bad.
So that
That's the
I had.
57 Chevy with the fire.
It's
Yep,
really
I had that
good.
one, and it's
Yeah.
awesome.
Really
Oh
good.
yeah.
Yeah, I want it. I need to have it.
So yeah, that is M.A.S.K, which ends our month of 80s cartoons.
Heck
I would say we peaked with DuckTales, I think.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that
for
was
sure. Well, it's
that
hard
was-
with the goat.
Yeah, I mean,
It is.
Yeah.
It is hard. Although She-Ra was a lot of fun. I would watch more episodes
Mhm.
of She-Ra Princess of Power before M.A.S.K. I will say that.
yeah, She-Ra was
Um,
good.
They have
So-
all of the safety tips on this website. Every last one of them.
Oh, that's
You can
amazing.
just learn right now.
Just anything
So
you
go-
want, and it's so well done. The website is so pretty. Like
It's so
not,
good.
it's not
so much
a
more effort
fan
was put into
page.
the website than the
Yeah.
cartoon.
It's not even built off of like a fan wiki or whatever. It's
Nope.
someone knows JavaScript. And I mean they're doing the Lord's work out here for the Mask fandom.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, if you're into that, maskforce.com.
So
we'll put the
good.
link to that in the
So
show
impressive.
notes for sure. You should check it out because it's really, really good.
It's really good.
Yeah, so that ends 80s cartoon month. Now we're into the holiday season. So we're gonna be watching
Yeah.
holiday themed stuff. Audie, you're gonna kick off our holiday season of shows. What do you got for us?
Yeah, I'm gonna start us off with a special episode of television of a certain show. So this is one that we watched all the time growing up, and I just had to bring it. So we're just gonna go for it. It's longer than our typical episodes, but it'll be worth it. We're gonna do Christmas Eve on Sesame Street.
Oh
Yes.
man.
Ooh.
Yes. Let's
you can-
go. Psyched.
Yeah. So you can rent it or buy it at places. I found a YouTube link that'll work, so we could do that. And it does have the whole episode. It's about just under 60 minutes. So
That's perfect.
Excellent.
we'll
I'm
go
in.
with that.
All right. So Christmas Eve on Sesame Street.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Perfect. So
I
that
did
is where we're
check.
going to be going next
It
week.
is not on M.A.S.K with their collection of Sesame Street stuff. So
Oh.
don't go
Bummer.
looking for it there. But like I said, you can rent it for like a couple bucks in all the digital places and stuff. So
Sweet.
Awesome. I mean, anytime we can watch Henson stuff
Yeah.
at Sesame Street, I'm in.
mhm.
Easy.
Did we get any feedback this week? I didn't see any
We
myself.
got nothing in the
although Dev-
mailbag.
Okay.
I would like to point out that we also have the Speak Pipe over at speakpipe.com/2dorks, where
yes.
you can leave your lone little message on the internet, and we'll get notified of it, and we can hear your beautiful voice. Leave us some feedback about shows you like. So again, speakpipe.com/2dorks. Two the number 2 dorks. If you're familiar with
Okay.
our Twitch URL, you can you can find it.
Excellent. So definitely do that. Let us know about Christmas Eve on Sesame Street, or just Sesame Street in general.
Yeah.
Would be fine. Like I'd love to hear it. We love to hear your feedback. I know Dev Harry C said that he watched it. He had a hurricane. JF Dubois also mentioned having the green motorbike, the Condor, which was in this episode.
Yes.
So definitely. Well, I'm looking forward to Sesame Street next week. I can't wait. That's going to be great. I'm sorry. I'm trying not to just spend all my time looking at maskforce.com.
The whole show's been derailed.
Post-show commentary about it. It's a lot.
So until next time, and Christmas Eve on Sesame Street, this has been Those Are the Days. For Amy, for Audie, and for Steven, I'm Travis saying, I got nothing. I don't know. I needed some kind of an acronym, and I don't have one. So
that's about as
you next
exciting
week.
as that's as exciting as Matt
Don't
Hawkeye,
dive
whatever his name
For the
is.
shallow water.
Bye,
Yeah.
everyone.
Yeah.
See you later.
Bye.